Unit 7. New Business. Track 1.
The economy is stable following the problems of the past 2 years. By following a tight monetary policy, the government has reduced the inflation rate to 2%. For borrowers, after going up dramatically, the interest rate is now down to 8%. The last 6 months have seen a slight improvement in the exchange rate against the dollar. For the country as a whole, the GDP has grown by 0.15%. Exports are increasing, and the balance of trade is starting to look much healthier. In terms of jobs, the unemployment rate continues to be a problem, as it is still 16%. In order to stimulate the economy and attract foreign investment from abroad, the government is offering new tax incentives, as well as making a renewed effort to reduce government bureaucracy and red tape. Finally, a large, skilled labour force means there could be attractive investment opportunities over the next 5 years.
Unit 7. New Business. Track 2.
Can you tell us about your business?
Our company name is Dahabshil. We are a global money transfer company. We transfer money nearly 144 countries. We help students, we help business organizations, we help international organizations like World Bank and United Nations. We help migrant workers who are in Europe or other part of the world who want to send money back home to their family.
Unit 7. New Business. Track 3.
What do all successful new businesses have in common?
All successful business, I believe, my opinion, they have to have a plan, they have to have a vision of where they're going, how they're going to reach that vision. They have to motivate their staff. They have to keep their customer loyal. They have to maintain that relationship with their customer. Because at the end of the day, customer is the one who base your salary, who base your income. So you have to make sure that the customer are happy with your services. You have to maintain that relationship. So Dahabshil, when the customer come to us and they send money globally, we have to think about their requirements and we have to make sure they're happy. So, and of course, you also have to maintain your cost. You know, if your income and your costs there's a big difference, then you have to manage that. Of course, you prefer to get more income than your expenditure. Otherwise, if your expenditure is more than your income, your business will be bankrupt. You will have a problem. So you have to always think about how to make more profit, less cost.
Unit 7. New Business. Track 4.
What advice would you give to anyone starting their own business?
I hope they've got lots of energy. I think it is difficult and quite hard work and needs a significant level of commitment. I think it's really, really important to make sure you understand the marketplace and who your customers are going to be. And how you differentiate yourself or make yourself different from any of your competitors in that marketplace. People will only go to you and buy your product or your service if they feel it is added value over and above what they can get elsewhere or something they can't get elsewhere. So for me, understanding the market and the customer is absolutely critical to the success of a business. The other key thing is that you've got sufficient cash. Things will generally not go quite to plan, and it's really important that you've got access to enough cash to get the business going, to ensure you get some positive cash flow through the business.
Unit 7. New Business. Track 5.
I remember when I first thought about quitting my job, and you advised me to gain some experience before I started a new business. I need to earn some profit as soon as possible, as I don't have much spare cash. Or do I have to accept that I won't have much money while I'm starting up my new business? Do I need to have some savings while I get my new business off the ground? I'm just not sure how I'll survive until my company starts earning money. Please advise me as soon as you can.
Unit 7. New Business. Track 6. 1. A.
362.
B.
1841.
C.
36,503.
D.
684,321.
E.
4,537,295.
2. A.
3.5.
B.
2.89.
C.
9.875.
3. A.
3/4.
B.
An eighth.
C.
6/7.
D.
A half.
E.
2/3.
4. A.
15%.
B.
50%.
C.
97%.
D.
100%.
5. A.
£80.
B.
$5,800.
C.
150,000 euros.
D.
20,000 euros.
Unit 7. New Business. Track 7. Extract 1.
And here is the business news. This month, inflation is up by 1.2%. The unemployment rate is now 5%, giving an overall figure of 1,258,000.
Unit 7. New Business. Track 8. Extract 2.
Laser plc, the supermarket giant, reports that profits rose 12% to just over $1.8 billion, with sales increasing a healthy 18%.
Unit 7. New Business. Track 9. Extract 3.
General Engineering said it would reduce its workforce by 1/3 over the next 5 years, resulting in the loss of 5,000 jobs.
Unit 7. New Business. Track 10. Extract 4.
The central bank has reduced interest rates by 0.5%. Turning to the world economy, this will grow by 2.8% next year.
Unit 8. Marketing. Track 11. Consumer 1.
I read about the launch and I really wanted it, but when I tried to buy it, I just couldn't get it anywhere. My friend heard that it was in one shop and he queued up for ages, but they'd run out by lunchtime.
Unit 8. Marketing. Track 12. Consumer 2.
The company held a party on a riverboat to launch their new campaign. It was absolutely fantastic. We also got a free sample and a T-shirt with the logo on as a gift at the end.
Unit 8. Marketing. Track 13. Consumer 3.
These new boots were really expensive, but definitely worth it. I think the fact that they cost so much is what really makes them different from the rival brands.
Unit 8. Marketing. Track 14. Consumer 4.
I've had this wallet for over 20 years and it still looks good. The leather is very high quality and very strong but still soft. The color is as good now as when it was new.
Unit 8. Marketing. Track 15.
Market research. Market segment. Market share. Consumer behavior. Consumer profile. Consumer goods. Product launch. Product life cycle. Product range. Sales forecast. Sales figures. Sales target. Advertising campaign. Advertising budget. Advertising agency.
Unit 8. Marketing. Track 16.
Which marketing methods work best when promoting your products?
At the core of all marketing to doctors is the need to spend quality time face-to-face with them. These are very busy people who have a busy day treating their patients, and we often find that we only have maybe 5 or 10 minutes within that busy day to sit down with them and take them through both the clinical, rational advantages of our products, why we think they should use this product compared to the ones they've been using in the past, as well as the more traditional emotional advantages of the product. By emotional advantages, I might mean how it would help their patients, help them understand the benefits for their patients and how it will make them have easier lives. So we're still very much focused on how we can best present quite complicated data in a short period of time, face-to-face to the doctor.
Unit 8. Marketing. Track 17.
What problems can you face when marketing pharmaceuticals?
I think the biggest challenge for us is that the regulatory environment, the laws that we need to follow, and are quite strict, and quite rightly so. We in the pharmaceutical industry have the same interests as the doctor. We want to help patients lead better lives. We have to present the data in a fair and balanced way, not to overstate the advantages of our products. Because we're often trying to develop campaigns which are consistent across many different countries across Europe, and because the laws are different across these countries, it's often a challenge to work out exactly what we can say and the best way of saying it.
Unit 8. Marketing. Track 18.
Has the way you market your products changed much over the last few years?
Unfortunately, because of the regulatory laws that we need to follow, we're not able to promote directly to patients. We can only talk to the doctor because the doctor makes the decision about the medicine. So although we'd love to use all the benefits and opportunities that the internet and the new communication methods offer, we're not able to use them as much as we'd like to do. Having said that, we are beginning, I think many companies are beginning to look at the opportunities that new technologies such as the iPad may offer to present the data when we're face-to-face with the doctor, because it's a clearer and more involving way of presenting the data to the doctor than the traditional paper.
Unit 8. Marketing. Track 19.
What is a typical life cycle for your products?
The life cycle for a pharmaceutical product is often very long. It can take anything up to 20 years from the scientist first coming up with the idea to it finally being widely used by physicians to help patients' lives. The first 10 years of that life can be spent wholly on the clinical trials to prove that it's safe and has effect and helps for patients. And then the next 10 years, spending a lot of time and effort presenting this data to doctors so that they can begin to understand which patients and in which situations the drug can help them. And just as we're getting to those peak sales, we find that the patent on the drug will go. So there's a long period from the first idea to finally getting it out there in doctors' and patients' hands.
Unit 8. Marketing. Track 20. 1.
Yes, it's 13,456.
2.
And the number is 0033 2399 0324.
3.
So the email address is v.altin@sorslan.com.
4.
And her address is 128/60 Ratanatibeth Road.
Unit 8. Marketing. Track 21.
Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, Echo, Foxtrot, Golf, Hotel, India, Juliet, Kilo, Lima, Mike, November, Oscar, Papa, Quebec, Romeo, Sierra, Tango, Uniform, Victor, Whiskey, X-ray, Yankee, Zulu.
Unit 8. Marketing. Track 22.
Hello?
Hello, Fiona. This is Martin. How are things going?
Fine, thanks.
I haven't received your sales report yet for the quarter. Any problems?
Oh, no. Sorry, Martin. I've been really busy lately. But I can tell you we've had excellent results.
Good.
Yeah, we've met our sales targets and increased our market share by 2%. Our total sales were over £1.2 million.
Over 1.2 million? Great! Well done. What about the new range of shampoos?
Well, we had a very successful product launch. We spent $250,000 on advertising it and...
Sorry, did you say 215,000?
No, 250,000. We advertised it in the national press, took out space in trade magazines and did a number of presentations to our distributors. It was money well spent. We've had a lot of orders already and good comments from customers.
I'm really pleased to hear that.
Unit 8. Marketing. Track 23.
Anything else to report?
Yes, there is one thing. One of my biggest customers will be visiting London next week. She'd like to have a meeting with you.
Fine. Could you give me a few details? What's her name?
It's Mrs. Young Ju Chan.
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
Young Ju Chan. I'll spell that for you. Y for Yankee, O for Oscar, U for Uniform, N for November, G for Golf. Then J for Juliet, O for Oscar, O for Oscar. Then C for Charlie, H for Hotel, A for Alpha, N for November. She's Korean, actually. She's chief buyer for BHDS. Let me give you her telephone number. 82-20735 8879. Her email address is y.juchan1@bhds.com. OK? Why not give her a ring or send her an email? She's expecting to hear from you.
I'll do that. But first, let me read that back to you. It's Young Ju Chan from BHDS. Telephone number 82-20735-8875.
No, 822-0735-8879.
OK, I think I've got all that. Just one more thing. Did she say when she'd like to meet?
Yes, she said next Thursday or Friday. That's the 17th or 18th.
What about Friday the 18th? I'll give her a call and confirm by email. Right, I think that's everything.
Fine. I'll get that report to you by the end of the week.
Right. Bye for now.
Unit 8. Marketing. Track 24. Extract 1.
It's a great jacket for cold weather. I wear it to college every day during the winter. But it's not good for the summer. You get too hot in it. And it's got too many pockets. It was really cheap. I liked that.
Unit 8. Marketing. Track 25. Extract 2.
I'm sorry I bought it. I'm not very big, so it doesn't fit me very well. It certainly is warm and keeps me dry during the winter months, but I was really looking for something a bit more fashionable, in a bright color. You know, bright blue or yellow. My jacket's black. It's a bit dull.
Unit 8. Marketing. Track 26. Extract 3.
I'm quite pleased with it. It's very warm, perfect for canoeing and snowboarding. But the zipper is awful. I always take a long time to zip up. And the hood is difficult to fold up after you use it. It's quite big, so it's difficult to pack in a bag or suitcase.
Unit 8. Marketing. Track 27. Extract 4.
I saw an ad in a magazine and I liked the look of it, but it took me a long time to find out where I could buy it. I'd almost given up. Then my husband spotted it in a camping store. It's very warm in winter, but I get too hot when I take the lining out and wear it in the summer.
Unit 8. Marketing. Track 28. Extract 5.
I spotted an advert for the jacket in our local newspaper. I filled in the order form, then waited over a month for delivery. I almost cancelled my order because of the delay. I had to phone the supplier 3 times before it finally arrived. I love the jacket. It's warm, practical, and keeps me dry in rainy weather.
Unit 9. Planning. Track 29.
Recently, we decided to open a new sales office in New York. First, I arranged a meeting with the finance department to discuss the project. We prepared a budget with details of the various costs involved. Then we collected information about possible locations for the new office. We considered 2 options, one in Greenwich Village and the other near Central Park. After doing some more research, I wrote a report for the board of directors. Unfortunately, we made a mistake when we estimated the costs, as the exchange rate changed, so we didn't keep within our budget. We overspent by almost 20%. We had to rearrange the schedule for moving into the building because the office was not redecorated in time. The board of directors was unhappy because we didn't meet the deadline for opening the office by December the 15th. It finally opened in January. However, we forecast sales of at least $1 million in the first year.
Unit 9. Planning. Track 30.
How far ahead should businesses plan?
I think that depends on the size of the business. If you're a business that has a commitment from a client for 3 years, you have a 3-year contract, it makes sense to have a 3-year plan because you can project forward those revenues, you know that relationship will be in place, and you can make some assumptions about what you need to do as a business in order to deliver the requirements of that contract. But I think for a lot of other businesses, 3 years is a long time. For a lot of smaller businesses, new businesses entering the market, especially in technology, for instance, when who knows what trends are going to come into play next month, new software, new platforms, you really can't have a 3-year plan. For me personally, I like the idea of a 3-month plan because it feels very manageable. I'm not guessing. And I think that is the problem with business planning. It can sometimes be business guessing.
Unit 9. Planning. Track 31.
What are the best business plans you know?
I think the best business plans are ones that are simple and flexible enough to take into account changing markets and changing situations. Any plan that is too fixed or too set in stone becomes very unwieldy because it can't accommodate economic changes, market changes, technology changes.
Unit 9. Planning. Track 32.
Can you think of a business plan that failed?
Yes, I think there are thousands of business plans that have failed because you're not always going to get it right. Entrepreneurs and business owners cannot predict the future. And I don't think that's a bad thing that the business plans fail. I think it's important that we as entrepreneurs learn lessons. And if something's not right, we can adapt it. So I think failure is not a bad thing. I mean, I can think of an entrepreneur I met recently who has set up a very successful international web-based business where entrepreneurs and startups can create business cards very cost effectively. Now, when he was planning that business, he planned a previous version of it, and the previous version failed. And it was his lessons that he learned in that failure that led him to create version 2, if you like, which has been enormously successful. And I said to him, well, could you have ever anticipated or planned for what is the success now? And he said, well, no, because I was focused very much on something else. But I learnt my lessons, it didn't work, and now we created something else. So great. He is a success because he failed, that's fine.
Unit 9. Planning. Track 33.
We need to decide exactly when we're going to move. Any suggestions?
I think July would be the best time. It's very quiet then, isn't it?
You mean we don't do too much business then?
Exactly. Our sales are always down that month and quite a few staff are away on holiday. We could move all the office equipment at the weekend, do everything at once. And that's the best way.
Could I just say something?
Go ahead.
I think we should take longer to move. A weekend's too short. In my opinion, we should do it department by department.
How do you mean exactly?
Well, each week a different department can move. That way, there would always be people here who could handle customer inquiries, phone calls and so on.
See what you mean. Maybe it would be better to phase the move over several weeks. Of course, we'll have to keep our staff informed at every stage of the move. We can do that mainly by email. Now, moving on to the question of transport. We've contacted 2 companies, National Transport and Fox Removals.
Sorry, could I just comment on that, Mark?
Certainly.
I don't think it would be a good idea to use National.
Oh.
I've heard 1 or 2 things about them, and
I don't think they're very reliable. But Fox would be fine. They've got an excellent reputation in the trade.
OK, perhaps it would be better to use Fox then. You know, there's another possibility. We could get our own people to do the moving.
What? You think our transport department could do the job?
Why not? They're not too busy in July.
I don't think that's a good idea. This is a really big job. We need a specialised firm for that, like Fox. They've got the experience and will do a good job, even if it does cost us a bit more. Also, Fox offers a free consultation service.
You're probably right. I'll call Fox and discuss the relocation with them. I'll see if I can persuade them to lower their price a little.
Unit 9. Planning. Track 34.
You know, I think the magazine could do really well if we plan it carefully. There's a really big market for it, and I feel it's the right time to launch. The main thing will be to make it different from the other magazines out there.
Yes, it's got to have some unique features, but I'm sure we'll come up with some. OK, what about target consumers? I'd say we should be aiming at men and women in the 20 to 40 age range, right?
That makes sense to me. I think the magazine will also need to have clear sections. I've looked at a lot of health and fitness publications in the last few weeks. Some are an absolute mess. You've no idea where to look for the topics you're interested in.
Yes, we must have well-organised content and really interesting features. Maybe a regular feature on a celebrity, a film star or top athlete talking about health and fitness.
Yeah, that would be very popular, but pretty expensive.
It would really increase sales. People love reading about the lives of celebrities. Another thing, you know, once we get some readers, we need to keep their loyalty, so they go on buying the magazine. We must find ways of doing that.
Of course. The website can help us to stay closely in touch with readers and keep them buying the magazine. Do you think the online content should be free of charge?
I suppose we could offer some free content, then make readers pay a subscription for premium content. Extra materials like DVD workout programs, that sort of thing.
OK, let's see what the teams think about that. They'll have plenty of good ideas for the magazine and website.
Working Across Cultures 3. Track 35. Call 1.
It's the first time we have heard about this, and my view is that we should find out more about what the markets think. Because
No, I think this
and
is
then
because
it
of
will,
the way that...
And then I'm sure that
I think that...
Working Across Cultures 3. Track 36. Call 2.
It's the right time to think about the new marketing strategy for all the new ranges across all the markets, except for the Latin American region, where I think we should adopt a different approach.
Working Across Cultures 3. Track 37. Call 3.
Well, I don't think it will work here, but I like the idea in general.
Sorry, I don't know who said that. Where are you?
Yes, sorry, this is Carlos in Australia.
Working Across Cultures 3. Track 38. Call 4.
Yes, about the marketing strategy. Well, this reminds me of the time when I was playing golf with Mr. Takagi, and he told me about the best way to hit the ball. There's an old Japanese proverb, which is a very good way of remembering the important...
Working Across Cultures 3. Track 39. Call 5.
Yes. Hello? Is there anybody there? I'm a bit late, sorry. How does this microphone work again? Let's see. If I do this, then maybe...
Working Across Cultures 3. Track 40. Call 6.
Martin, what do you think?
Well, my suggestion is to look at the finance again to try and save as much as we can on the ad for the...
Working Across Cultures 3, Track 41.
Well, this should
Hello, everyone. Right, in this afternoon's session of the Cultural Training course, and before you go to your breakout groups, I'd like to talk a bit about international conference calls. These are becoming more and more common and cheaper now that the web is being used for phone calls. Firstly, I'd like to look at the most common problems and then move on to a few tips and pieces of advice. I suppose many things are common sense. However, it can all take some getting used to. The first thing to say is about technology. This is probably the most common problem I hear about. There are a lot of different systems, and as with all technology, it sometimes goes wrong. Systems can crash and people get cut off, so be prepared for that, as it can be very frustrating. Also, there are times when there are people taking part in a conference call who are not familiar with the technology and who don't know how the equipment works. This is a training issue. The other thing is, background noise can be a big problem, especially if a mobile or cell phone is used, as these tend to pick up a lot of background noise. Finally, there may be problems with people not being sensitive and speaking very fast, maybe because of nerves or just because they behave differently on the phone.
Working Across Cultures 3, Track 42.
And now I'd like to look at a few solutions to the problems and offer some tips for both participants and call leaders. It may seem obvious, but when you are part of a conference call, make sure you are in a quiet place and not likely to be interrupted or disturbed. This follows on from what I said earlier. Actually, the mute button is important to use when you are not speaking, so that you can reduce background noise. Personally, I use a headset for this type of call. Also, try and avoid eating, drinking, or chewing gum while on a conference call, as this can be noisy for others. If you really need to have a drink, remember to use the mute button. Moving on to participants, a few quick pieces of advice. Prepare for the call in advance. Think about and plan what you may need to say, and perhaps any questions you may have. Have any documents you may need close to hand, so that you don't need to look for them during the call. Being on time is also important. When speaking, if it's not clear from the technology being used, it can be helpful to say who you are each time you speak. For example, "This is Mike. I didn't catch the name of the marketing firm. Could you say it again, please?" As in face-to-face meetings, when you speak, stay on topic. Short contributions will be more memorable, and a conference call is not really the place for long speeches. Another good tip is to signal or label what you say. For example, "This is Mike, and my idea is..." The other thing to say is, try not to interrupt people when they are speaking. Listen carefully and wait to be invited to comment by the call leader. Avoid taking notes on a computer, as typing will be noisy for the other participants. A pen and paper, although old-fashioned, is still effective.